What's going on, guys? This is Corey with Good Evening Tech, and today we're going to go over functions in JavaScript. So the thing I've always related with functions in JavaScript is called dry. Dry is don't repeat yourself. I've heard it a million times, and I've learned the hard way of why dry is important. So don't repeat yourself is just exactly what it says. If you have code that's doing the same thing over and over again, just throw it in a function. Another great thing functions are used for is, let's say you're making something and you're just getting 20, 50, 60, 100 lines of code down. Take some of that stuff and put it into a function. Because it's not really going to matter to the computer at you throwing a bunch of code into a function, but it'll help you read it, and it'll help if you're working on a team or you're working with other people, it'll help them understand what you're trying to do. It's just because something makes sense to you does not mean it makes sense to others. With that being said, we're going to go over functions. So first thing we're going to do is show a format of it. Go here, draw some stuff there. All right, so this is one of the formats of it. You have the function keyword, hello. These parentheses here, these are where you put your arguments. So if the function needs a variable to do something with, that's where you'll put it in here. We'll show examples of that later. And then these curly brackets is where the code for the function will be. This return keyword right here is what the function returns. A function doesn't need to return something, but this is what it looks like. Going down the next version, we'll do hello world 2. And we'll equal it to a function. And in here, we'll put string to write. And then we'll do console log string to write. So this is another format that you can give the function. Set it to a variable. If you want, you can make it a let in case it needs to be assigned later on, or you can make it a constant. What you want the function's name to be, declaring it with a function keyword, and then any arguments you want to give, we give it string to write. And as you see down here, yeah, that's going to put something in the terminal, but it actually doesn't return anything. There's no values that are given by it. And let's show the final format. Say arg1, arg2, and this is called an arrow function. Go in here, and then we'll do arg1 plus arg2. That's the other format of it. So these are the three formats you'll see. These two up here have a special condition where they have a this keyword that's assigned to them. What that means is there is a state inside of the function that you can call on. It'll be unique to itself. This down here, if you call this inside of it, it'll refer to the this above it. If that's confusing to you, I barely understood after doing this for quite some time, but the more you do it, the more you're going to understand it. What's up, Molly? Now, let's show how you call a function. So what we're going to do down here is we're going to call hello world. That's what it looks like. You just write out the function with the parentheses. If there's no variables in there, you don't need to put anything in. We'll do hello world 2. And we'll put in there howdy. We'll go down here, type hello world 3. We'll give it 1 and 3. We'll hit save right there. We'll open up a terminal. It'll load here. There we go. Now we'll just do node main. Uh-oh, did I break it? Oh, it's because I'm in this folder right here. All right, what we're gonna do is some X Games maneuvers here. I'm gonna grab this, swing this bad boy over here, and then swing this one over here. We'll do node main. So what you can see down here is we got howdy and we got for. So you might be asking yourself, where's the top function? Since this returns something, nothing's actually done with it by us just calling this. So if we wanted to see what this said, we could put it inside a console log, or something cool you can do is set a variable to a function. So what we'll do is hello equals that. Now we'll go down here and we'll do console.log hello. Now we'll rerun this, and as you can see right down here in my tiny terminal, we see hello world now. So if you have a bunch of calculations you need to do to assign a variable something, instead of writing it out and creating a big headache mid in your code, like let's say this is where all the action happened for your code, you can just assign the variable to a function. It'll figure out everything for you, and then it will return that. Pretty cool, right? All right, let's go over here. I'm going to go through some examples I've had. Pretty much the same thing we just went through. Add itself, you give it a function, you give it a number parameter, and it'll add itself to itself. So we'll go here, we'll actually run this and see what it does. So we'll get the hello world, and then down here we gave it a number of 4. 4 plus equals, so plus equals would be the same as you doing something like this. Number equals number plus number. But we do 4 in there, so 4 plus 4 is 8. Go over here, something cool with functions, but kind of weird, but kind of interesting to understand about JavaScript is JavaScript doesn't really have classes. Like if you've ever learned a language like Java where everything's a class, JavaScript doesn't have that. It does have it, but it doesn't, but it's weird. JavaScript's a weird language. I still don't understand it, but we can declare a class. It's still a function. You can use the class word as dog. There's just a couple other steps with it, but I wanted to show it the functional way because that's what this whole talk, that's why you're here listening to me to ramble. You can create a class using a function. So you give it an uppercase character, and as you see here, this word, that means as an instance of the class. So down here, I have a cat named Nibbler. When I set him to a new instance of a cat, I named it Nibbler. So as you see with this argument here, this dot name equals name. So this instance of Nibbler, their name equals Nibbler. Let's run the code down here. Save it first. See what it does, and ta-da, Nibbler. Too easy. Now we're going to go over here. We're starting to see the arrow syntax. As you can see through a lot of these functions, it doesn't necessarily matter which way we've gone with this. It's just when you use things like this, a lot of new programming and structured courses you'll see will start using arrow syntax because it's the new, it's the fancy way they want everything written. But same thing we've seen before, but if you go down here to half number, you see it looks a little bit different. So if an arrow function only has one argument and only one line of code, we can write everything on the same line without needing any of the fancy brackets, braces, and all those cool things. So we'll run this one here, show the results, and then talk about them a little bit. We have 16 and 5. Square the number. 4 times 4 is 16. Down here we gave half number 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Too easy. Example over here. So what this one does is it will, what's a good way to put it? We're giving it a function and using numbers to return it, if that makes sense. Ooh, I didn't even use numbers here. Let's see what this does. A while ago I wrote this. So 39. So, oh, I remember what this did. This is actually really cool. So live and learn with this language 100%. What this will do is it'll take the argument's length. Arguments is a key word in JavaScript, and it'll add up all of those numbers from the arguments themselves. So everything that was a number there will be given to it in a key called arguments. So if that was crazy and I sound like an insane person, arguments is everything that is returned up here put into a special variable. So we gave it 2, 33, and 4. We started this for loop at 1, which skips the return function, so it added 2 plus 33 plus 4. So the numbers don't even see each other in this statement, but they are used by this special word that JavaScript has. Now let's go to the bottom one. All right, and we'll just run this, talk about what it does at the end, and we'll go from there. Okay, too easy. Just adds the words together. That's pretty much it. It shows a function inside of a function. You can declare things inside of each other. JavaScript, besides a few cased instances, which a lot of them are actually being phased out because they cause weird issues, has what's called block scope. So up here, these curly brackets, anything that's inside of here will not be able to be called outside of these curly brackets. So like this function inside of here, let's say you had a lot of code and you wanted to break it up inside of a function. You can create functions inside of functions, functionception, but it's to make it easier for you or other people to read. But what I'm getting at here is this combine function inside this function. If I tried to call it down here, it has no idea what this is. As you can see, even the IntelliSense just says any. It has no idea what it is. Actually, let's hit the run button and see if it catches on fire. Node example 5. Yep, as you can see, combine is not defined. So it doesn't even know what this is because it's inside a block scope. That's pretty much it there. So if you like this tutorial of just going over the basics of what a function can give you, remember, if you're doing code over and over again, don't keep writing it, especially if you need to change something. It becomes a big pain in the butt going through and changing something 50 times. Learn from it, and if you like the video, please hit that like button. If you want more content like this, feel free to subscribe and visit my website at goodeveningtech.com, and I hope you have a great evening.